Hey everybody, thanks for watching Guy Doing Stuff. I'm Adam, and today I'm going to be attaching the bracing on the soundboard. Now that you guys have an idea of some of the more basic principles of bracing from my last video, I'm going to show you the more complicated process of attaching the soundboard bracing. Before I started, I did want to say that I'm not trying to claim to be an expert on this. This is only the second guitar that I've built. There are luthiers that spend decades perfecting this process that I'm about to show you. If you want to know more about the intricacies of soundboard bracing and soundboard voicing, I'm going to put some links in the video description to some longer videos and articles that I used when I was learning how to do this. I already have all the braces cut out to the dimensions that my plans gave me. There's two big sticks that make an X across the middle, a transverse bar and a top plate at the upper bout, 3 little soundhole strips, 2 tone bars across the lower bout, and 2 finger braces on each side. There's also a thin piece of rosewood I'll put right here to reinforce the inside of where the bridge will be. I copied the pattern from my plans onto a piece of plexiglass, then drilled holes through it at all the intersections so I'm easily able to tape the glass to the soundboard and mark everything, then take it off and connect all the dots. I'm doing the X braces first. I radius them on my dish just like I did with the back braces in my last video. You have to cut notches where they intersect, so I line them up at the angle they're supposed to cross, mark one of them, and cut a notch about halfway down. Then line them up again and mark the notch for the second one and cut that too. I cut a little bit less than halfway down on both of them so I can file down to a perfect snug fit. Once I'm happy with the joint, I put a drop of glue between them and glue them to the soundboard in the go bar deck and let it cure for at least an hour. I put a radius on the 2 tone bars and all 4 of the finger braces too. All of these braces are going to butt up against the X braces. I'm supposed to taper them down to where they meet, and it's a lot easier to cut that taper before they're all glued down, so I'm going to do that now. Then I mark the angle on the ends of them where they butt up to the X braces and sand that on my disc sander. Now I glue all the finger braces and tone bars down at the places I marked earlier. I'm going to let those cure for a while now. Next, I'm going to put on the transverse bar and the top plate. Before I glue these down, I have to drill a hole in the middle of the transverse bar because I need to have access to this guy to be able to adjust it in the future. The transverse bar hangs down right in front of the little adjuster thing, so when you have a hole in it, you can access the adjuster through the sound hole later when you need to. I don't radius these braces because I actually want the soundboard to be flat in this area. The fretboard is gonna sit over the soundboard here, and I want to have a flat plane for it to be glued down to. You'll notice here that I use a flat backing while gluing to make sure my flat braces get a good fit. After these are glued, I'm gonna file a little groove in the middle of the top plate so it doesn't get in the way of the truss rod either. Now I'm gonna glue some little sticks around the sound hole. These are thin and short enough that you don't really need to radius them. I sand them to 220 grit and round the tops of the edges so they look nice. Then sand the angles with the disc sander again so they butt up tight to the other braces. I'll use coals to glue these down so I don't dent the tops of them. The last thing I'm going to glue down is the bridge plate. I cut a piece of 1/8 inch thick rosewood, a little bit oversized on the bandsaw, then carefully take it down to a perfect fit with the disc sander. I also cut a notch off one side so it can clear the tone bar. This is also a small and thin enough piece that I don't need to put a radius on it either. I sand the top and round over the top edges, then glue it down, making sure it's snugged up tight to the X braces. Everything that needs to be glued down is on here now. This next step is called voicing the soundboard. The ends of the transverse bar, X braces, and tone bars are going to taper down to about 1/16 of an inch, and they'll be tucked into the sides just like the back braces. The ends of the finger braces are going to taper down to nothing, so you won't have to tuck those. The vibration of the soundboard is influenced by how the braces are shaped. So it's this long, superstitious process of carving and holding up to your ear and tapping and carving and tapping. Again, this is only my second guitar, so I really don't know what I'm listening for here, but I like to do it anyways because it makes me feel like a real luthier. When I'm happy with everything, I sand it all down to 220 grit to make it look nice. If you're using this series to build your own guitar, don't use this video as your only resource for soundboard bracing. Look at the links that I put in my video description, Google any questions you have, and also it's super helpful if you can talk to a luthier in person. Another thing I wanted to mention is there's a bunch of just basic woodworking stuff that I kind of skip over in this video, like dry fitting everything, wiping away excess glue, chisel technique. Those are things that I just kind of figure you guys know by now if you've made it this far. There are a lot of easy mistakes you can make that could get really frustrating and really expensive. So always remember to use best practices and don't rush too much and take your time and just enjoy the process. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to Worksharp Tools for sponsoring this series. And don't forget to hit subscribe to stay up to date on my videos.